Good evening and welcome friends to this section of the Trending Burning Question. There is a breaking news development which is connected with the Delhi Assembly. All 7 MLAs of the BJP have been suspended by the government there, by the Speaker of the Assembly, for disrupting Lieutenant Governor's address which happened yesterday. Remember, BJP has 7 legislators in Delhi Assembly and all of them have been suspended. And according to the Speaker, they were disrupting the address of the Lieutenant Governor in the ensuing budget session, and a decision being taken to suspend them because they were not letting the House in order. And on that note, we focus on our story for this section of the Trending Burning Question, which is the farmers' protest. Been 4 days of chaos around Delhi at the borders, at Shambhu border, specifically between Haryana and Punjab. It's almost turning into a veritable Punjab and Haryana fight with farmers protesting there, wanting to come to Delhi, but the Haryana government obviously and the Haryana police not letting them come in. In the interim, talks have been going on, 3 rounds done. 4th round going to take place on Sunday. But what's the issue really? The sticking point is the minimum support price. Look at what the farmers have said today after the talks with the government. Then I come back with someone who's deep into it in terms of understanding, Professor Ramesh Chand. He's member of the Niti Aayog. Nobody knows better than him what MSP means and what the farmers' demands entail. Listen to what the farmers have said, then I come back.
4 days on, protesters continue their Delhi Chalo march. Commuters nationwide, including office goers and school children alike, are facing disruptions amid heavy traffic. Their march is in response to several unfulfilled demands, including guarantees on MSP and pension schemes. Protesters are also demanding the withdrawal of FIRs against those involved in 2020-2021 stir. They are also demanding compensation for those who lost their lives in the previous stir.
MSP के ऊपर सबसे ज़्यादा चर्चा हुई, तो बड़ा मुद्दा है और सरकार का कहना भी एक मैकेनिज्म सिस्टम बनाना पड़ेगा और इसलिए वो अपनी तौर से कोई ना कोई इस तरह का समय मांग के कुछ चाहते हैं कि सरकार में विचार विमर्श हो और उससे आगे कोई ना कोई बात हो। तो अब देखते हैं कि कल जो एतवार को जो मीटिंग होगी उसमें क्या निकल के आएगा।
Meanwhile, talks are ongoing between the centre and the protesters. With just months to go before the Lok Sabha polls, who is fanning the flames of discontent among these protesters? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
All right, we seem to be having some issue there connecting with Professor Ramesh Chand, member of the Niti Aayog, and he would have explained to us. But we also have Indra Shekhar Singh. He's agri-policy analyst, former director, policy and outreach, National Seed Association of India, and he's someone who has been articulating on this issue as well. And so essentially what we are having is a conversation on the technical aspects of the minimum support price. Viewers, you have been watching these protests, the second edition of farmers' protest on the issue for last few days. There has been chaos on the ground, normal life disrupted in some pockets around Delhi, and it seems that it's still building up. It's not really showing signs of being rolled back. So let's begin with you, Indra Shekhar Singh. I was going through some facts, and the first up is that already in Punjab, or so far as Punjab is concerned, much of the crop, almost 90% plus for paddy and 70% plus for wheat, is already being procured at the MSP which is announced by the government. So it's not that the farmers are left high and dry. They are already getting MSP. It's just about the formula, right? Swaminathan formula on which they are stuck.
See, absolutely. But there are some other nuanced aspects that we must consider. And I'm not trying to make a political point. I'm only trying to make an agrarian point. All of us paid 400, 200, 300 rupees for tomatoes earlier this year in metros. Many of us paid a lot of money when it came to ginger, onions, wheat. Wheat has been the highest ever it has been in many, many years. There is hyper food inflation. And at the same time, India needs 800 million people that need to depend on government food rations for their means of survival. Now, these are two very important aspects. First, the farmer is not getting any money. Second, the consumer is being it's being charged a supreme premier price. And third, there is a major malnutrition and hunger crisis that's emerging from the government's own data. It's also clear that the strategic reserves in India are, when I mean the strategic food reserves, they are at their lowest. So this presents a problem and an opportunity. The problem is that there is problem in the state of agrarian India, and the Modi government recognizes it. Doubling farmers' income was a flagship program of the government. Keep in mind, it was the flagship program, not a secondary program. So the Modi government is well aware of what the rural sign, what signs rural economy is giving to the urban economy and to the planners. So there is a problem in agrarian India, which is, and sir, let me just please complete, and then I'll tell you the MSP demand in its current form. What does it really say? It says that give us a fair price. Now, I feel there is an opportunity for the government, the farmers, and the consumers and industry, all of them to work together to actually create this into a golden moment for agriculture. Now, whether it happens through a law, it happens through I have another solution for it, which is through non-recourse loans to farmers as crops as collateral. If we follow this model, which is already being followed in different parts of the world,
Indra,
I think the deadlock can be removed.
Indra,
and the government
let's have a step-by-step conversation.
Sure.
No, let's have a step-by-step conversation. So,
sure, please.
First up, I said that pretty much entire wheat and paddy crop, insofar as Punjab is concerned, pretty much entire crop is being taken at MSP. So the issue is about the formula of MSP. Now, also because you were mentioning about food price inflation, etc., I was going through numbers. And the price at which the farmers are selling to the government through MSP, wheat at least, is already higher than the international per quintal price of wheat, right? Roughly thereabout, if not higher. So it's not that the farmers are dispossessed in any manner vis-a-vis rest of their, brethren around the world. Also, now coming to the formula of the MSP, if we can discuss it for the benefit of viewers in the simplest possible terms. As of now, the MSP, as designed by the Cost of Agriculture, the CACP, the Commission on Agriculture Cost and Prices, it is essentially a formula which gives farmers their cost, whatever they incur in terms of getting the crop, plus some, I believe, some additional profit on it, right? Now, the farmers say that this additional profit should be at least 50% of the cost, and the cost should also include factors like rent of land, interest, etc. Now, the question is that already, and I'm going through CACP data, Indra, already the Swaminathan formula is C2 plus 50%. Already the farmers at the current MSP in Punjab, for example, and the rest of the country, they are getting C2 plus 38%. So just about 12% where the catch is, right? So it's not that the farmers are again very impoverished. They're getting their almost entire crop taken in at MSP, and the MSP as it exists today as per CACP is around C2 plus 38%. So it's not that they are really dying of hunger and poverty because of this formula. It's just a matter of 12%. Just for the benefit of viewers, if you can add your perspective on that.
So first of all, I've actually been in those meetings of the CACP where these costs are being decided. So I exactly know the processes through which the costs are determined each season. Now, what the farmers are saying, again, I'm not trying to side with the farmers or with the government. I'm just trying to talk agriculturally. Of course, there is a need to revive the formula. That's why Swaminathan ji, who was given the Bharat Ratna by the Modi government, was involved in the process. The governments, and this is not just BJP or Congress, India as an administration, Bharat as an administration understood that there is a problem. And of course, there is a problem. There is no denying this. Modi ji himself has said during his chief ministership in Gujarat, and please, sir, let me complete this point, and this is not a political point. Please just allow me to complete. So what the problem here is that currently the cost of production analysis is an incorrect analysis, because always every year, every 10 years, the cost of productions will keep increasing. If there is hyperinflation in foreign in DAP prices or in oil prices, the Indian planning mechanism cannot take such shocks. So the cost of production formula that is being suggested, I think there is a need to reevaluate it. There should be a steady growth in which agri-commodities, there should be a baseline period considered in which the price of agri-commodities have risen at power with industrial and service commodities or service goods. See, that is what the problem is here. Agricultural commodities,
Indra.
the price of agricultural commodities has
Indra,
not
you see-
stably risen when compared to, for example, a teacher's salary, or for example, the price of gold, or for example, the price of other industrially manufactured goods. So you have
Indra,
to see that there needs to be an equivalence. That's
you are the
all
subject
that is
expert,
required in the
but
system.
just a while back, Indra, just a while back, you are the subject expert, but just a while back you said that there are times when the tomato crop goes for 200, 300 bucks a kilogram, and there are times that it goes down. So obviously, agriculture has its peculiarities, and the subject experts deal with it. But by and large, I'm just talking about the CACP data and the formula. So for example, in the case of Madhya Pradesh, it's actually C2 plus 52%. In the case of wheat, the farmers are asking 50%. In the case of Punjab, where they are saying C2 plus 50%, it's already C2 plus 51%. But Desh Ratan Nigam, joining us live, unfortunately we couldn't get Mr. Professor Ramesh Chand due to some connectivity issues. But Desh Ratan Nigam, again, going by data.
Can I answer that?
If the problem is just about Punjab, look at the numbers. I'll come to you, Andhra. Desh Ratan Nigam has joined, so just putting a question on Punjab. Punjab farmers say, oh, they are losing money, they are not getting their cost, etc. But if you look at the national average Indian household income, the national average is 10,218 rupees a month, against which Punjab has 26,000 rupees a month. And Punjab happens to be essentially an agrarian state. It does not have any industry. So obviously with agriculture, it is already almost more than double the national average income. It's highest in the country among the largest states, in fact. So obviously there is an element of politics there, Desh Ratan Nigam, because if you look at the formula CACP data, it's already C2 plus 50% plus. If you look at the national average income of the family, it's already Punjab having the highest in the large states. The protests seem to be having a strong element of motivation in politics.
Certainly, Abhishek. In fact, if you look at the timing, the timing is so important. The moment the election comes, they start agitating. However, the difficulty with the state is that what you see, that industrialization is going down. If you look at Fagwada, or if you look at Jalandhar, or if you all over the places, the industrial output is down. The state has got very high fiscal deficit. And on top of that, the agriculture is also going down. The soil has got saline, acidic, and the quality of the agricultural produce has also gone down. So that is the difficulty, the problem. And the Punjab people do not
Okay, that's an important aspect you bring focus to. In fact, that was something I wanted to ask. Yeah, that's something which I actually wanted to ask. Indra, you are the expert. Please, you were talking about the costs that go into, and the cost inflation that should be accounted for insofar as farmers' produce is concerned. But, you are forgetting the subsidies that they get in all their costs,
exactly.
Right? And
so
in fact, if you continue to add to these subsidies, there might be issues with the WTO. And then would come the issue of liberalization of the agriculture market, and then you would talk about bringing in farm laws. So, there has to be a balancing act done. Either you want the agri market to be brought out of the morass that it is in, to liberalize it, to integrate it with the larger industry and market, and let the market dynamics guide, or you keep dependent on these kind of subsidies which are going to have an issue in WTO. But then this issue that Desh Ratan Nigam raised is also important, Indra. What's your view on that? You see, there has to be something, or there is some problem specific to Punjab, which is that you have to wean them away from paddy and wheat. On the one hand, there is the issue of water table.
Yes.
On the other, there is the issue of crop diversification. So obviously these factors can't be just addressed by C2 plus 50% Swaminathan formula. There has to be more that has to be done, for which the farmers have to engage with the government, which perhaps they are not doing.
See, you've actually proven some of the points and solutions that I was talking about. Exactly, there needs to be no MSP for industrial farming. Today, we've come to a point where there should be MSP for only ecological and regenerative farming, so that the soils are preserved, the water is preserved, and the future generations of Bharat are preserved. We cannot keep dosing our lands with toxics and pesticides. Now, you raised the question of WTO. You will find it very funny that in the WTO, the Indian government is actually advocating for MSP and farmer support. And at home, it's a different view. So you're absolutely right that there is a khichdi in Indian agricultural politics.
There is a political reason for that, perhaps, Indra, which is that the government wants a cushion of subsidies to remain for the farmers' constituency. But that does not mean, that really does not mean.
This is not a criticism of the government. Please understand, this is the last point, and this is actually in line with everything you've said. The last point is that if we want to liberalize agriculture, open up the land ceiling. Let the means of production be free also, and then let the free market come in. You cannot have a limited means of production and then have a free market on top of that.
Well, you have to speak to the political opposition which oppose the very first reform of the Modi government back in 2014, which was about the land reform, right? The opposition did not let it happen. Similarly, in the case of farm laws, they were forward-looking. They would have integrated the rural hinterland with the larger market across the country, would have created a pan-India national market. But the farm laws were also opposed, and we saw the consequences. We are seeing the consequences. And perhaps, there has to be a give and take. The farmers can't be having both ends of the bargain. And I'm told Ashutosh Mishra has joined us. Analyst leans toward the Congress party. Ashutosh Mishra, someone like Indra Shekhar Singh, who's an expert, he's saying that there can be land reforms, there can be farm laws, right? He's choosing his words carefully, but essentially means that these kind of reforms should be welcome. Land reforms.
The problem here is that one of the
oppose those land reforms, right?
Demands of the
and you continue to oppose any reform that the government tries to bring.
Reforms. And they say the amount of money that they get is not enough. That's what also they want to go back to the old formula. Right now, they say their land is taken and they are not given adequate.
All right, sorry, Ashutosh Mishra, for the last 2 minutes, I have got the guest I wanted, Professor Ramesh Chand. He is member of the Niti Aayog. Very good evening, sir. Very welcome. It's unfortunate that we couldn't get you for the rest of the debate, but your last comments, this MSP issue, I have discussed much of it, but many states, according to CSCP data, many farmers in these states, most farmers in these states, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, they are already getting C2 plus 50% above that. So what's this fuss about?
Yes, in case of beet crop, in most of the state, it already meets that requirement. But Rajdeep, today the main bone of contention is, can we fix MSP that is based on C2 plus 50%? Here I want to make a vital point. From where this 50% came and on what amount it should be calculated. If you look at the Swaminathan committee report, there is not a single sentence explaining the logic of giving 50% margin over C2. I had meeting with Honorable Swaminathan Sahab in Niti Aayog in the presence of more than dozen other people to understand on what basis he was recommending this 50% over cost C2. I raised two questions to him. Sir, I first want to understand why 50, why not 10, why not 90? Please explain logic to us. The second was, margin is always calculated on the cost and investment that you make. Margin is not calculated or paid on the cost which are not incurred. Like land rent, that is not paid by the farmer. Land rent should be compensated in the cost. But what is the logic of calculating margin on land rent? So, similarly, what is the logic of calculating margin on the imputed value of family labor? There is no explanation for these things in his report.
I'm very sorry. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, sir. I would have wanted to have those entire 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the conversation with you, and it would have been an enlightening one. Maybe I'll try to get you tomorrow again. On that note, thank you so much, Professor Ramesh Chand, member Niti Aayog, of course, Inder Shekhar Singh, and Deshratan Nigam and Ashutosh Mishra for joining us on this very short, crisp conversation. Short break on the other side. The Arnab Goswami is back with the debate.